let's talk about pronunciation. But before you skip and you say, well, Spanish pronunciation is easy, I already know it, I want you to stick around just in case. The reason being is because there's actually a lot of bad Spanish pronunciation advice online, and even some of the advice that is technically accurate, a lot of Spanish learners and teachers don't really notice that the way a lot of learners are learning these, they're not actually hitting these sounds just right. So I'm going to approach this from the standpoint of an accent coach, because that's what I have done as a professional job, working with celebrities and you name it. And I'm only letting you know that just in case you're new here, but you may already know that. So pay attention. We've got some hidden gems here, okay? So, but I'm gonna try to go fast, okay? I'm gonna try to not bore you. Let's just go through these, so please take notes, all right? Let's start off with this letter right here. We're gonna do first some things that are different between English and Spanish, okay? For pronunciation, this doesn't exist in English. We could say that this is the mascot of the book, okay? You probably noticed it in some of the designs. So this is called ñ, and basically the sound is really easy. It's like an N, but you basically put the letter Y after it just for pronunciation. So it's not it's ñ, right? Depending on the vowel that comes after, it'd be like nya, nya, ni, nyo, nyu, whatever, something like that, okay? Kind of like in the word canyon, we have that in English. The sound is in English, but the letter is not, right? So in English, you have canyon, which is spelled C-A-N-Y-O-N. I have to look at my notes because I'm a bad speller in English. But anyways, canyon, right? So that nya, nya, nya sound, that's what this is. All right, let's go to the next one. L. You know the L, and this is one thing that a lot of people get wrong, okay? This is really subtle. A lot of Spanish teachers teach that L, the one L is exactly the same in Spanish as it is in English. Kind of, but it's subtly different, okay? So in English, our tongue is like this. We wiggle our tongue a lot. So if this is the top of my mouth, the tongue, we do a lot of this. It's very lazy and loose and fluid in English, whereas in a lot of other languages, many languages around the world, their sounds are more crisp, and the way they get that is a more tenseness to it. So the Spanish L, it's not going to be, let's do this. Let's say an English word. We don't want to focus on Spanish words right now. Right now, I just want you to focus on sounds, okay? 100% on sounds. Okay. The word like in English, right? Like, I like to like things. I like to say that phrase. I like to like things. I like to like things. Your tongue is going like. It's just like. It's very relaxed, right? It's just slowly flopping up. Like. In Spanish, if we were to say that word with a Spanish accent, it'd be like. Tongue is hard against the roof of the mouth. Like. I like to like things, right? So that's you probably hear the accent sometimes with people that are coming over from Spanish, because that L is more tense, it's more crisp, it's beautiful for the Spanish language, right? So that's what the L does. So a subtle little thing. I don't hear people talking about that. Let's go to the next thing. Double L. How do I say this? In most Spanish countries, double L will sound just like a Y. The Y sound in English, like yellow, right? The Y sound, okay? However, there are certain countries, Argentina, Paraguay, some other ones, and if I'm missing any, put them down below, but it doesn't matter right now. You could find out, do an investigation to see which one they do in the country you're trying to go to if you already have plans. But anyways, it's normally Y sound, but in those countries like Argentina, Paraguay, and the other ones that I might be missing, it's like a J sound, like Jacques. That's really a French name, but like jazz, right? Jazz. There might be a better English word, but it's the J sound, J. So they would say, instead of saying lleno, they say lleno. Or actually, some of them actually will do an SH sound, like sheno. That you'll hear that sometimes too. But if you want to stick with just the safest one that everyone will understand, and that's most common around Latin America, is going to be the Y sound for the LL. Okay, those are just a few notes. All right, next one we're going to look at Double R. Double R has a different sound in Spanish. You probably already have an idea of where I'm going with this. I'm not going to really get in deep with the R's. I'll try to do an R tutorial later on here on this channel, but for right now, I just want you to recognize the different sounds, okay? So double R, it rolls, as they say commonly, right? Rrr, that's what it is, okay? However, a single R, don't be confused. A single R, it's a little bit different, and there's a lot of variations, but I'm going to try to say the thing that covers the most universal way that it's used, okay? Maybe in the future I'll discuss more, obscure subtleties and things like that, but for right now, single R, if it's at the beginning or the end of a word, it often, a lot of people will either do a light short roll, the tongue might flap a couple times, or even like just like almost like a th sound, but with the tongue on the top of the mouth, like a D sound, but you release the air, like comer, 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 comer. There's a lot of variations, but let's just say, for the sake of being very simple, it could have a light roll at the beginning of a word and at the end of a word, okay? That's the most common thing. Now, if it's in the middle of a word, especially, this is something very common in Spanish, it'll be like a vowel and then an R and then a vowel. That R will sound like a hard D in English. So an example would be the word in English, stutter, stutter. Think about what you say, stutter, and think about what your tongue is doing. Stutter, stutter. Your tongue is going doom, doom, doom. It's flapping one time, one flap, one touch and let go. Stutter. So that same thing will happen in Spanish. And I will say a Spanish word for this one. Let's say face, okay? Cara, 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 right? So my tongue is doing the same thing. Now, the reason why that's really important is because you can change the meaning of a word. Like, what did I say? Cara. Let's do this. Let's do another one. Another example. Caro, caro, which means expensive in Spanish. But if I were to roll that R, it's only a single R, but if I were to mispronounce it and roll it, instead of just doing that one flap, it would turn into the word car. So we have, you don't have to memorize these words. This is just for the sounds, okay? So we have caro, carro, caro, carro. Hear the difference? All right. So just a brief generalization. I want you more than anything to pay attention. Now that you recognize that, listen for it, okay? All right. Let's go to the next thing. The Z. In most Spanish-speaking countries, the letter Z will sound exactly like an S. The S in Spanish and the S in English are the same. It's just like that. You just blow some air out. In Spanish, the Z in most countries will be the same way. It'll be S. Now, in Spain, they do it differently. In Spain, it's just a lisp. So it'd be like like that, right? I'm exaggerating a little bit. But mostly in Spain, they'll do that TH sound where it has this kind of a lisp sound. You'll sometimes hear some different people from certain regions of other parts of Latin America do that TH, but the ones that I have heard them do it, they don't do it consistently. So it's like certain words that they'll do it with. And so you don't have to worry about that. But unless you're going to Spain, pronounce your Z's like an S. If you're going to Spain, pronounce your Z's like a TH, like a sound, okay? Next one, let's keep this rolling. This is really, 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 we're going to talk about a few subtle things here, important, okay? We're going to look at the vowels, A, E, I, O, U, okay? All right, so A in English can make a lot of different sounds. All kinds of things, right? In Spanish, one sound. Ah, that's all it is. It's ah. It's the open ah sound, okay? Now, let's go to E. We got something interesting to say about E. E is E. This is one of the things that I hear even more advanced Spanish speakers get this wrong. E, words that have E, a lot of times people kind of make it A. Like an example would be, okay, the word come, like saying eat, like, hey man, eat something, eat this, eat, come. And a lot of English speakers that are learning Spanish or even have advanced Spanish grammar will still say come, 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 come. But sometimes it's more subtle. I'm kind of exaggerating. Come. It's not may, but a lot of times you'll just hear this so often is that English speakers will bring that may over from that right? So that's the thing. It's just one sound, as in it's like in the word egg. That's the E that you want. E as an egg, all right? So don't twist the vowels. It's really easy. In English, if you look up how many sounds all the vowels have in English, every vowel has all kinds of sounds. Spanish, the vowels, just one sound. All right, next one, the letter I. All right, so the letter I in Spanish actually sounds like E. It's just E. That's just what it is. It sounds like the letter E, but I makes it sound E. Word we talked about in a previous video, information. In Spanish, I think I actually mentioned the specific thing too. It's not información, it's información, right? I hear people that rattle off Spanish really well communicating, but they got that accent, that American accent. Well, tú me puedes traer la información, right? Like you don't want to sound like a Cajun when you're speaking Spanish, okay? So it's always E. I in Spanish always sounds like E. Next thing, the letter O. O in Spanish, it sounds like this. O. Notice my lips. I'm not going O. It's O. So an example would be like in English would go ocean. See how my lips are going like that? They go oh. They're moving. In Spanish, it just be O. You don't want to change that, okay? So that's one thing I hear so often with people that are learning Spanish, even advanced ones. Like I said, this is something I don't hear people talking about, this subtle stuff, but it's something that my ear catches. Next one, the letter U in Spanish, it's not it's U. Ooh, like in the word goo, close to it. It needs to be more crisp. It's ooh. Notice it's just crisp, ooh, right? All right, now let's keep it going. Now look at these right here, A-E-I-O-U, but they have accent marks on them. It's real simple. All you do is when you see that in the word on that letter, you make the same sound that you've learned for A-E-I-O-U, but you just give it more power. So if a word ends in I, it'd be like da-da-da-da-da. It'd be the A-E-I-O-U, right? You just give it more power. It's very simple, all right? I hope you're taking notes. If you need to, you can always go back. Let's keep this going, all right? So the letter G in Spanish, it varies. We're going to look at a few different examples, okay? Let's look at some of the weird examples first. This one, G, and then U with the 2 dots over it. I don't like technical words, but this got a technical word. But let's keep it simple because we're focusing on sounds. The G with the 2 dots, the G followed by the U with the 2 dots over it, and then an E. That's gonna go gue, okay? Kind of like the name Gwen, right? It's like that. It's gue, okay? Next one is this one. The same letters, but without the 2 dots on top of the U. That's gonna make a ge. Kind of like the word in English, guess, okay? Next one, G, followed by the U with the 2 dots on it, and then an I, that's gonna go like this. That's gonna go gooey. I was only looking at the first part of my notes. It's gonna go gooey, okay? So just like the word gooey, oh man, that's gooey. It's gonna be like that, except you keep your mouth more tight. Gooey. Okay. Next one is gonna be this G followed by a U with no dots, and then an I. That's gonna be gee, like the word we have in English, geek. So you have that, okay? Just take your notes. A lot of these ones with a G, these obscure ones with a G, they're not crazy common. Probably the most common one is this next one. It's going to be G followed by E, and here the G is actually going to have an H sound to it. It's going to be he. Okay, there's a couple of common words with that one in Spanish, and then other than that, practically for most of the time, the G is gonna just sound like a hard G in in English how we make the g sound. Okay, so all right, now let's look at C. Okay, C, just like in English, it can either sound like an S or a K. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but in English, it's like C doesn't have its own sound. It either steals the sound from the S or it steals the sound from the K. Yeah, I kind of want to look up and see why that is, but I'm sure there's an interesting historical fact of why through the history and everything. So anyways, let's look at this. So if you have this spelling C-E, that's going to be se, not say. Like that's how a lot of people with accents, American accents or foreign accents would speak Spanish. It's not say. No, it's like it's se. Okay. So next one would be C-I. That just goes C. So here, notice both of these ones, the C is having an S sound. All right. Next one is going to be CC. If a word has the letter CC, that's going to be like an X followed by an S. It's like expert, for example, expert. Okay. Let's go to the next one. K. No, not K. Sorry, Q. The letter Q in Spanish, it's always going to be followed by a U, and then after that, after the U, it'll always have either an E or an I. But the short story is that the Q is going to sound like a K and the U is going to be silent. Okay, hope you're taking notes on that. It's simple. We want to keep things simple. Let's look at here. I will tell you one Spanish example, and here's why, because we've kind of robbed this word a little bit. Have you ever gone to a Mexican restaurant and you ordered queso? All right. Can I get that with queso? That's what we say, right? Yeah, let me get the queso. All right, so queso, now it's hard for me. Queso, that word queso, that means cheese. It simply means cheese in Spanish, queso. Now it's not K with a Y, it's queso. Now, I hope that you pay close attention to this. Literally, like I think I mentioned this partially, there was an official pronunciation guide online that I found. It was beautiful. It was one of the most beautiful pronunciation guides I've ever seen. It's like something I would print it out and put it on my wall if I was learning Spanish from the beginning all over again. And it had a couple errors on it. This one had at least one. There's so many errors I saw today when I was looking at some, just kind of getting an idea of what's out there, right? And so this Q-U-E, they put it phonetically that it's K-A-Y, like K. It's not. That is incorrect. That is an error, and that's wrong. My guess is that the person that wrote that, based on what I know, probably is an English native speaker that learned Spanish, probably. So it's not K. So whenever you ask for queso you can say it however you want to when you're at a Mexican restaurant and you're speaking English, because we stole the word and we adapt it, right? But whenever you start speaking Spanish, though, don't call cheese in Spanish queso. Me puedes dar a queso? It's not queso. It's que is crisp. Queso. Queso. All right? You're going to be better at pronouncing Spanish than any of your friends. Tell them to buy my book, by the way. All right, let's get this going. A few more things here. So we did Q. One note about the C's and S. No, the C's that sound like an S, those will also in Spain have the lisp. So, yeah, in Spain, here's how to think about it. If you are going to Spain, okay, S's in Spain sound like S's everywhere else. The Z's in Spain sound like TH lisp. And then over there, the words that would typically sound like this, that have a C, the letter C, that would sound like an S, those ones they would tend to pronounce with the lisp, as I call it. Okay, the TH sound. All right, last couple of things here. We're gonna wrap this up. H, the letter H in Spanish is silent. The J actually sounds like an H, so that's a thing. And then you have the letter V. Letter V. If you know what, if you want to see an awesome video, I have like probably it might even be a 20-30 minute video. I don't know, maybe it's 10 minutes, but I have a decent sized video on Instagram. If you go to my Instagram and you click Instagram TV, not Reels, but the Instagram TV button, you'll see one that talks about the letters V and B, and I talk about a lot of interesting stuff about it. But here's how you need to keep it simple. Even though there are some variations you'll hear around, let's keep it simple. V's in Spanish sound like B's. So in Spanish, you'll see V and B, they both sound the same. Just pronounce it like a B. Okay? It's real simple. I hope this helped. Last thing I have to say, sorry, this is actually the last thing about the pronunciation, is that every letter that I didn't mention sounds like English. You know, just off the top of my head randomly. The letter M, there's nothing to say about it. It's just like English, okay? So, yeah, basically all the other letters, if you're taking notes, you can write, the rest of the letters, just like English. If there's something that I did happen to miss and have an oversight, let me know, and then we'll add it. But I did thorough investigation, and I think I caught it all, but I do overlook stuff sometimes. So I hope that helps, and see you in the next video.